Hey folks, this is Rebecca Lane with Embrace the Bold, the Valencia College School of Arts and Entertainment radio show, where we tell you all about the amazing people who make up this incredible School of Arts and Entertainment. And today we have Raul Valery on the show. Say hello, Raul.
Hello.
And he is the program chair for the
Audio Technology and Sound Production Program. And we made that up.
Yes. He's the program chair for the Audio Technology and Sound Production Program, and we're going to talk to him in just a second. And before we get started, I just want to remind you that we have a robust arts season coming up. School of Arts and Entertainment includes 11 majors, including theater performance, theater tech, sound recording, film, music performance, dance, and architecture, and social media communication, and a number of different programs. And we do all sorts of events. So coming up next, we have Vanishing Florida. That's photographs. And that is by Kevin Boldnow. That is a show that is playing in the Anita Wooten Gallery. If you hear this program before September 21st, you can join us on that date at 6 p.m. for an opening reception that is free to the public. I will tell you, these photographs are beautiful. So I recommend checking that out. And even if you missed that opening reception, the show is open for about a month, so check that out. We also have a gallery exhibition at the Osceola campus. That is Mary Ann Carroll, First Lady of the Highwaymen. And you can see that. That opens on Monday, September 11th at 9 a.m. It is in the Osceola campus, Building A. And it is a very unique gallery show that we are really privileged to have, so check that out. And then on September 22nd, our fall reading series, we have a series of staged readings that are promoted by the Theater Performance Program. And we will be reading How I Learned to Drive by Paula Vogel, and that plays on Friday, September 22nd and Saturday, September 23rd. Both of those shows happen at 7:30 p.m. They are free to the public, and they are in the lobby of the Performing Arts Center. So those are some shows that are coming up, and I strongly recommend you see them. Everything that I mentioned today is free, and everything is really state-of-the-art. So check it out. All right. So today we're going to pivot, and we have Raul Valery. So Raul, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm an electronics engineer.
Okay.
So my graduate degree is in engineering, not in the arts. But I have been involved with music performance. I'm a classically trained guitarist, and I play a series of other musical instruments. And I've been involved in the world of sound production since my teens, I'm going to say. I mean, as I started as a DJ. But a DJ way back then, right? It's an entirely different thing. At that time, DJs did not make music; they just played it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I had my own gear to hire it out to the parties, to the music for parties. So I would take everything. It's even the black lights and things like that were used at that time. And by that time, there were still dinosaurs around. So it's been a while. So and then I started making radio when I was 20. That was my first radio show on commercial radio, by the way.
Wait, so you started, your first radio show was on commercial radio?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was funny because I'm from Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
And my radio was live. It was about jazz. Okay, so the name of the show was Viva el Jazz. And it was on a radio station, AM, that played only salsa throughout the week. So it was the only show mine was the only show, but it was pretty popular.
Okay.
But then I went back to college, finished college, all of that, and started working. I had the opportunity. I got hired by a company that was system integrations for professional audio. So I applied for that. And one of the contracts, I mean, the contract they got right after one contract they got right after they hired me was actually in Caracas, Venezuela.
Okay.
They had just built the most modern recording studio in Latin America
Ooh.
at the time. So they brought in the man who was, I mean, the architect for recording studios at the time, Chips Davis, who was famous for creating that concept, which was the studio with a live end and a dead end.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a music production studio, and then they hired Sherman King, who was the recording engineer, one of the top recording engineers at Wally Heider's in Los Angeles. And he was actually Frank Zappa's personal recording engineer.
Oh, wow.
And he wrote the first textbook on recording engineering, the first formal training for recording engineers. So he went over, he came over. It so happens that everybody that he had to train as recording engineers were local guys from Venezuela, none of whom spoke English. Sherman did not speak Spanish. So how are we going to be doing that? I mean, so please, Raul, can you translate? Because I had just finished doing the system to go back to the company. And so I ended up becoming the head recording engineer there. Went with Sherman to train in for the advanced course. And then I ended up going to working in sound for movies in Hollywood, in surround sound. I'm talking now, this is
Okay,
the
so wait,
1980s.
so you started so you started out in engineering, or were you DJing at the same time that
No,
you
no.
were in engineering
I
school?
was a DJ as a teenager.
Okay, so as a teenager you were DJing.
Yes.
And you had the whole setup and the black lights and your turntable and the
Right.
speakers, and you'd take them to parties.
I was also playing in a youth symphony orchestra and in a big band and playing flamenco here and there and classical guitar here and there. I mean, so yeah, I was pretty active like that as a teenager.
Okay, so you were a musician.
Yeah.
You were a musician as a
Pretty much,
teenager.
yes.
And you were DJing.
Yeah.
And then instead of pursuing that, you pursued engineering. Why?
That was the best way to get into a recording studio at that time. I mean, it's like pretty much, I mean, yes, you could buy a console and you could buy this. I mean, but if you could not install it or maintain the equipment or modify the equipment, they were not interested in you. I mean, no recording studio was interested in anybody who did not have those technical skills. So the best way to get into sound recording was with an engineering degree.
Okay, so you pursued engineering with the intent of going into the music industry.
Into audio, yes. Into
Okay.
audio. So not necessarily the music industry, audio.
So
sound.
what did the engineering degree teach you that you found you were using in audio technology?
Not much. Not well. Essentially, it gave me the backing, the degree that allowed me to get the jobs that I got. Like for instance, again, the first job was a systems integrator. So that is something that anybody who had their own DJ system knew how to do. It was just, I mean, take this piece of equipment. I mean, this signal here comes out of this pot. I mean, it needs to go into that other one and go through a patch panel. So you already knew how to do that. So I got the plans, I mean, the elevations, etc., and then went over there and put the equipment together and make sure that it worked properly. Also troubleshooting. I mean, like, okay, so we have a ground loop. That means a bzzz. You
Right.
get that in okay, how do I solve that? So it was on that technical side of audio. But then again, I mean, it's like I was not hired as a recording engineer, but ended up doing it because I have a really good ability to translate simultaneously. So
To translate from English to Spanish?
and from Spanish to English. Pretty
Okay.
much as I'm hearing it, I'm being able to translate it, or as I'm reading it, I can translate it like right away. So and that is an ability. I mean, it's not something that I mean, it's, that you have. Well, people train for that.
They do.
Okay, but that is something that came natural. So well, from there,
So you go from engineering
yeah,
and you don't learn a lot that you need to use, but it does
Yeah.
give you the degree.
yeah, and I get the master's degree.
Did you get the master's degree in engineering?
Yeah, in signal processing.
Specifically in signal processing?
Yeah, it's engineering. It's a master's degree in electrical engineering, but my field was signal processing, which and acoustics.
Okay.
Essentially
Which, I
audio.
mean, you do use acoustics.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Okay. So the master's degree was a little more applicable.
Right, because signal processing, audio is all signal processing.
Yeah.
Compression, equalization, all of that. That's all signal processing. And then, of course, electroacoustics and acoustics, physical acoustics. So that's what I did during my master's degree, and then that got me into cinema, into sound for cinema.
Okay. So wait. So you were doing. So when you were at the radio station in Venezuela
As a
doing
teenager, yeah,
doing Viva El Jazz, that was
before college.
before college.
Yeah.
So while you were in college, was that when the when they brought in the folks from LA?
No, that's
the
after
Venezuela?
That's when I finished my bachelor's.
Okay, so that was after the bachelor's.
Yeah,
And then you were there as a translator
and then
after
a
your
recording engineer,
bachelor's
yes,
and a recording engineer.
Yeah,
And
and then-
ended up being the head
yes, of the recording engineering. Of the studio.
right after your bachelor's.
Yeah. And,
Wow.
And then came a financial crash down there.
Oh.
And I was able, however, to come back to the States to do my master's.
Okay.
And then I stayed with practical training, and I was offered this job in sound for film.
Okay.
And I was lucky enough that it was one of a very few limited number of companies that worked in surround sound, which at that time was 70 millimeter film. So I did a lot of surround sound work. Not only did I mix it, but we were also doing equipment for companies like IMAX
Oh, wow.
and recording the surround sound prints for movies like Aliens and things like that. I mean,
So
it
you
was-
were working on films like Aliens and
yeah. Hmm.
Okay.
In surround sound. I mean, so the system is what today is called 5.1 surround. It ended up being called 5.1 when it became digital.
Okay.
So it was left, center, right, two surround sound speakers, something on the left and right side, and an enormous subwoofer. So, because it was 6 channels surround sound. And we did a lot of that. Most of that was for like presentations, and then the occasional feature film. But most of it was for presentations and like rides, actually ride simulators. I mean, one of the most popular things with that was to simulate roller coasters on 70 millimeters.
Oh. So what was your favorite project that you did surround sound for?
America's Cup.
Yeah?
Yeah. That there was, yachting. I mean, it's like, it was I forget exactly what the name of that is, but that is a yacht. I mean, it's a sailboat competition every year, and the Americans had lost it for the first time to the Australians.
Oh.
Okay, so this was, it's every 4 years. So this was now the race, the sailboat race, in order to try to return the cup to the Americas. To North America, to the United States, and they won. And we had all the footage from that, and then we had to. It's a lot of Foley and a lot of sound effects and things like that to get it into surround sound. For IMAX.
Oh, wow.
So that was a lot of fun. So, but yeah, it was fun. Doing that.
So you're talking about surround sound and you're talking about Foley and all of
Yeah.
that. So like when you talk about the work that you were doing, like what does crafting surround sound for a project entail?
Well, when you make a movie or a TV show, the sound that is being produced, or that is being captured during the production, you're only interested in the dialogue.
Okay.
So what you're using, the boom microphones and the lapel microphones that you're using, they're meant to capture dialogue. everything else, yeah, I mean, they're going to capture the surrounding, but since you're not really focusing on that, it's not really going to be the best quality sound. Okay? So all of that sound is replaced. I mean, it's actually created in the studio, okay, in the post production rooms. So, like those microphones don't carry footsteps, but if you're watching a movie or a TV show and you don't hear footsteps, it's not credible.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to recreate those footsteps. Okay, so as part of Foley, the sound of the clothing, all that type of thing, and then sound effects. I mean, what does a dinosaur sound like? I mean, you gotta get very creative. The soundscape. There are some shows and some movies that are phenomenal or terrific at, I mean, the sound team at creating a soundscape. And then there are some that are very popular series sometimes. I mean, like there's a series on Netflix called Ozark that has probably the worst sound design that I've ever heard because there's absolutely no environment. I mean, they did not. I think they did that on purpose. I mean, they don't want to put any kind of environment. I mean, they're in the woods, and you don't hear anything that resembles to the woods. So it's just whatever the bare minimum. Okay, so for somebody who's into sound design, yeah, no, no, I want a little bit more, right? But maybe that they did that on purpose.
Yeah, that could have been a
Just
creative choice.
to make it bleaker. Okay, because it makes it pretty bleak.
Yeah.
Okay, but there are other shows and other movies and TV series. I mean, where they actually go out of their way to create a soundscape.
Yeah.
And that's where the sound professionals, the sound designers, get really creative.
Okay.
Okay, so we're in the woods. Well, where? We're in Central Florida. Well, I want a black bear, red wing, singing there, and probably a Florida woodpecker, and maybe a squirrel or two, or something like that. I mean, it's not just the wind rustling, or it's Orlando. So, Orlando, we have a pretty busy sky when it comes to like commercial jet planes, airplanes. Okay, so let's get the sound of an airplane over here. And normally these are not things that are in the script. And the director will approve or not. But that's where you can get really, really creative, and particularly in surround sound, because and now that we're working Dolby Atmos, immersive. By the way, plug for the college. We are one of only 3 colleges in the United States who has a full cinematic Dolby Atmos system.
We are.
Yep. So there's only 2 other colleges, and we cost only $103 per credit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're the cheapest one, and it is a full Dolby Atmos theatrical system. So. So yeah, I mean, we can get really creative.
Yeah,
I mean,
and we're open for tours. If anybody wants to schedule a tour, we will walk you through our system and show you what we have.
Show you what we're doing.
Yeah.
So we're about to finish. I mean, right now in the process of finishing a movie that's been a year and a half in the making.
Ooh, what project is that?
It's I got the endowed chair in film technology a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So in the spring of 2022.
Yeah.
With the film program, we shot this short called the Soul Survivor. The problem is I cannot really say what it is about, because if then it's going to ruin the film. If you know what it's about, I mean, it'll ruin it. So when you watch it, but I had this idea. To have something always to mix for the students. I mean, it's for class projects, because in 2013, we took a group of students to the Audio Engineering Society convention in Manhattan, in New York. I mean, we had taken them before, and they had participated. But they hold these student competitions. And they're competing with students from, NYU, Loyola University, McGill University in Montreal, UCLA, colleges in Britain, in Australia, in
Wait, this
Germany.
is a competition?
Yeah.
And what's it called again?
Oh, it's a student mix competition at
Student
the
mix competition where?
Audio Engineering Society convention. I mean, Audio Engineering Society is a worldwide organization.
Audio Union
No,
Society.
Audio Engineering.
Audio
Audio
Engineering
Engineering Society. Okay, and they hold competitions in a number of categories. So one is acoustic recordings, so acoustic music. Another one is acoustical and electrical. So they have like electric guitars and things like that.
Uh-huh.
The third one is they don't have MIDI. They have one that is hybrid. I mean, so acoustical instruments or instruments recorded in a studio plus MIDI. They have another one which is equipment or software, so technical. And then there is the post production, so sound for film or TV,
Okay.
which must be done in surround sound. And in 2013, a couple of our students won first prize.
No way.
Yeah, first time that an AS degree students won that competition.
Wow.
Okay.
And so what division were they competing in?
The post production.
The post
The
production?
post production, yeah.
Wow.
So they took a clip, I mean a 5-minute clip from a movie they were working with. They were helping a graduate student from UCF with his project, with his movie. So they were doing the sound for it, the sound design and all that. So they just took a 5-minute clip in surround sound. And listen, I mean, the judges are like people like Laura Herzberg. It's got 3 Oscars for best sound. So Jack Smith, I mean, who did sound for Jurassic Park.
Okay.
I mean, the judges are top professionals in their field. Okay, so it's not like just Joe Schmoes. I mean, I liked it. No, these are professionals in that, and they won first time that 2-year college students or associate degree students.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So yeah, that's I'm pretty proud of them.
Yeah. How frequently do our students compete in that?
No, we haven't been to the Engineering Society convention since then.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, we haven't. We have not.
We won and we were like, we're out.
Yeah,
Thanks,
we're out.
guys.
Yeah. Well, no, it got complicated because
Yeah.
that was done through student government. I mean, through student activities.
Okay.
And the following year, they changed the rules on how that was done and things like that. So it ended up being really, really hard to take students to. Or the following time, actually, we went to Las Vegas to the, not to the Engineering Society, but to NAB, the National Association of Broadcasters.
Oh, cool.
Okay, because we were, like researching for the equipment and everything to go into this new building. But then again, I mean, they changed the rules the following year, so we decided not to apply for that. And finally came the pandemic. I mean, so we went into isolation, and we never did it again. So we haven't done it again. The Sound Club, which was the one that was responsible for that, went dormant until this term. Okay, so we have
The Sound Club is alive and well again?
is getting reorganized.
Oh, that's
now.
great.
But it's phenomenal because the new call it president of the Sound Club, she was able to sign over 40 students in like a week.
What?
Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah. So
Okay.
So now we have a strong Sound Club. I mean, getting started again. But we had suspended all our operations because of the pandemic.
Yep. That's a familiar story.
But we shot this movie that I'm telling you. So we're finishing the post production of it. We should be able to. I mean, the director. Okay, because this is the thing. I mean, I had the idea, the concept, but I'm not a script writer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I went to Eric Fleming, the director of film.
Right?
He liked the idea. Yeah, I tossed like 2 or 3 ideas. He loved this one, wrote a script, then shot it. Then comes the process, of course, editing and this and that. And of course, I mean, we're supposed to have picture lock because here's news. You do not start doing the sound for a movie or a TV show until it's cut.
Right.
'Cause all of the sound has to be put in afterwards.
That's
So if you
all
don't-
post-production.
all of it. I mean, so if you're going to add a scene, well, I don't have sound for a scene. If you're going to be cutting a scene, then how do I do the continuity between the previous scene or changing them, etc.? So, no, once you have what they call picture lock, so we're not cutting anything.
Okay.
All right. That's when you start working. But guess what? That never happens. There's always going to be another couple of cuts here and there. I mean, and those delay the projects. And of course, we're working with students. So we're not a full-time post-production house. I don't work full-time as a post-production house. And we also, I commissioned, I asked for Dr. Giefer from our music program to write the music.
Right.
Now, the director wanted something really specific at some points. I mean, so the recording of all, because we got a shoestring budget, right? And we have to pay musicians and things like that. So it took quite a while to get everything recorded. The last thing that we recorded was a French horn, which was one of our professors. But it took a while for him to have the time to come over and record the French horn part. So he had already, the movie had been shot and in the can, or all of that for about a year before we were able to finish recording the music.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's only now that we're finishing the post-production.
Okay. And
But
so
it
what?
is a good
How long
movie.
has that been from start to finish?
Well, it's been since
From when you pitched to Eric.
Oh no, I pitched to Eric. About 3 years ago. But when I got the grant, it was in the fall of 21, 22.
Got it.
Okay, so we shot
Okay.
in 22. Okay, and we've been working on the movie, and now in the fall of 23, 24, we're finishing.
Okay.
So it's taken almost, a year and a half really since the principal photography started, right? Okay, so since actually we started shooting, I think it was on February
Okay.
or March. Almost on the deadline. It's like because the money expires. Okay, so if you don't use it,
Right. It's gone.
Yeah, if you don't use it by June 30, the money is gone. So we had to hurry. And record as much as we could and everything. And so that's. But it's fun. It's a fun project though.
Yeah.
And now we have something to give the students to work on. Okay. We're planning on going to festivals with this. Of course, we're going to get an Oscar. Well, we already got an Emmy.
Right.
So now we got to get the Oscar.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Just submit it to festivals.
Yeah.
There you go.
If it goes to the Florida Film Festival, it does qualify for the Oscars.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So, and it is financed by Disney. So we're gonna try to see whether Disney will air it. Give it a play in one of their theaters over here. Even if there are no tickets sold. Okay, it's kind of like a private screening or something like that. It qualifies.
Nice.
Yeah. So we don't know.
Nice. Well, and it's a short,
It's a short.
so we're not necessarily selling tickets anyway.
No. It's
Great.
right now as is, although I know there's going to be another cut soon. Okay. As is, it's only it's just 10 minutes.
Oh, that's great.
So it's a very short. Okay? But I hope people will like it. Okay, so it's a fun movie. It's a fun little project,
That's great.
and the students like it.
So let's talk a little bit more. So you talked about surround sound. So you started in surround sound and
Yeah.
you learned on that 5.1 system.
Yeah.
And when you said what surround sound is you are doing all of the background, all of the soundscapes, all of the Foley
Yeah.
for what we are seeing on the screen.
And mixing the music.
Okay, and mixing the music. So you're not doing the dialogue,
No,
but you're mixing.
You're mixing it in.
Okay,
You're mixing the dialogue in.
so you're dealing with the dialogue, but you're
You're-
not redoing it.
No, you're dealing with everything. The process of mixing the movie is called re-recording mixing.
Okay.
So yeah, it's called re-recording. That's in the United States. I know the Brits call it the dubbing.
Okay.
Okay, process. Okay. All the elements that you need to mix the movie, at the time that you're getting ready to mix, have to be there. So they have already been recorded.
Okay.
Now you're recording it now to another recorder. Okay, so be it a tape recorder, a computer, an optical recorder, whatever it is. So you're essentially just re-recording as you mix.
Got it.
Okay, so you're producing the re-recording mix. And that's what we're doing in surround sound. Okay, so there are a few things that people don't know. So if you don't know this about soundtracks, okay, in surround sound, the dialogue goes in the center speaker and nowhere else,
Okay.
unless you're using it as a sound effect.
Okay. So crafting the surround sound is not just making sure that you have the northern Florida woodpecker.
No.
But it's also navigating which speaker
Yeah.
each sound is going to come
Oh
from.
yeah, because the music score. You don't want the music score anywhere but in the surrounds.
Okay.
You don't want it in the center. You don't want it in the left, right.
Why not?
Because it interferes with the dialogue.
Okay.
Okay, and it's more impactful if it's coming from the sides. So it's coming from the surrounds. So sometimes, if there is no dialogue, you may want to put some of the music in the left and the right speakers behind the screen. But most of the time, you leave the surround. I mean, the music in the surrounds. Background music, though, is a different thing. Okay, there is music coming from the scene. I mean, it's a diegetic music. It does come from the front.
Okay.
Okay, it's incidental music, so the score only
So,
comes from the
so the
sides.
score is only from the sides.
Yeah.
So
from the
what? How
surrounds.
can you tell, like when you're watching a film, how can you tell the difference between a really excellent audio engineer crafting that versus
you
like a
can tell-
beginner?
you
What's
can
what's
tell
the
it was-
difference?
you can tell it was an amateur because the dialogue is not dead center. Okay.
Okay.
So dialogue has to be in the center and only in the center. It's not the only element that can be in the center, but you normally don't want to put any more. Just the dialogue in the center. There's sometimes, I mean, like room tones and like the sound of the room. Maybe, like background music, other elements, some sound effects that need to cross the screen from left to right or vice versa, or they need to be in the center because that's where they're coming from in the screen on the movie. But most of the times, I mean, you just want the dialogue in the center. You don't want the dialogue anywhere else unless you're using it as an effect.
Got it.
So you can tell amateur mixes because they put the dialogue left, center, right.
Oh.
Okay. Or they don't leave it just in the center.
Are there any sound engineers that you seek out their work?
Tom Holman.
Tom Holman?
Yeah, Tomlinson Holman. That is Laura Harrisburg. I mean, it's like there's a few.
Okay.
so-
And what films are they famous for, or do you have favorites?
Tom Holman is THX.
Okay.
So pretty much everything that has to do with Star Wars or Indiana Jones or anything like that. I mean, it's like he's the Lucasfilm.
Okay. And what makes his work good?
He pretty much set the standards.
Okay.
So, listen to any Star Wars movie. Okay. That has phenomenal sound. Okay. So what? I mean, it's the attention to every little detail in the soundtrack. Okay. Is what really does it. And the clarity, the definition of the sound. I mean, it's like every sound source in his mixes seems to have a body of its own. So it seems to live on its own. I mean, it's like while being part of everything. I mean, it's just perfectly focused. Okay, so that is. I mean, he's a phenomenon. Laura Harrisburg. I mean, one of her most famous projects is called Inception.
Okay.
Okay, it's the same thing. I mean, it's like it's like call it poetry in sound. Okay, so those, I mean, it's like I'm really not that good. I mean, I'm telling you, I mean, this engineer or that engineer. I mean, in that because here's one thing, another piece of news. The majority of the sound engineers of the recording mixers are engineers. I mean, electronic engineers. I mean, they have the same background as I do,
Okay.
and they've been there for years. Okay, so those are great jobs, and that's you don't want to leave. Okay, so you get into the sound department at Sony Pictures, you're going to be there for years upon years upon years until you die or something like that, or you decide to
You
go to
take that
Taiwan.
job and you hold on.
You hold on to it because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It pays well too.
That's great.
So there they are, but the majority of them are recording engineers. But it's a team work. You see, I can work here alone. Actually, I work with the students. But it is normally when you see a re-recording mixing console, it's not a single engineer, mixing engineer sitting behind it. It's normally three, four, five at the same time. I mean, those consoles have 250 faders.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty wide.
Okay.
And so when you take a look at the one that we have a Harrison MPC5. That is pretty much the industry standard for MPC, means motion picture console.
Okay.
And they pretty much set the standard for that. Ours is 24 channels wide. It's 198 channels in general, but in banks of 24. Imagine the same thing, but instead of 24 faders, you have 96.
Ooh.
Okay, so or more. So you have more than one engineer. So one is normally in charge of all the spoken parts. I mean, all the dialogue and a few details. There's somebody else who's going to be in charge of all the backgrounds. Another one is going to be in charge of mixing the music in.
Wow.
So we normally don't mix the music in the dubbing stage. That's the name of the. That's how we call the room to mix that. We mix the music in a music recording studio. Okay, that is equipped for surround sound.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
And
so-
do we have music recording studios that support this?
Yeah, that's one of the things. When the this new building was being planned, took the decision to future proof it and make it, like really make the studios really flexible. So all of our recording and mixing rooms are equipped with 7.1.4 surround. So they're equipped to actually mix in Dolby Atmos for music and for TV, and home theater. So all of the studios are good for that. So we can mix the music in Atmos actually in the recording studios, and then bring the stems down to the post production, to the dubbing room. So we're gonna say, okay, so these are the strings, this is the percussion, this is the okay. So and they're already pre-mixed in 7.1.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And so we don't have that many music tracks. I mean, it's quite a few anyway, but it's not like sound effects. I mean, this is a 10-minute movie, and I have about 100 tracks of backgrounds and sound effects.
What?
But
For a
that's-
10-minute movie, you have 100 tracks of background and sound effects.
Yeah, that's standard.
Okay.
That is pretty standard.
Okay.
Yeah. So actually, that's why do you think those are consoles that I'm telling you about? I mean, are that wide? I mean, it's like, why would we want 198 channels?
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's you use a lot of tracks when you're mixing movies.
All right.
So I mean, in the time of analog audio, we used to work with 36 to 40 tracks. I mean, and that was in a small room. Okay. I mean, it's like Paramount that was using already about 200 tracks.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
In analog. I mean,
Wow.
so if you see the tape, the players, it was actually done on 35 millimeter film, coated with magnetic material.
Okay.
So the tape recorders, each one of them, a maximum number of tracks they could play was 6, and they were full rack units. I mean, so it was quite a few of them, and they made a racket. So
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, all those mechanisms are running at the same time, so they had to be in a separate room as far away as you could from the mixing room. So it was fun though. So that's why you needed to be an engineer.
Yes. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So now, can you tell us a little bit about your program and what does our program? What are you most excited about our program? What does it prepare our students to do?
Well, they're getting jobs. Okay,
Well, that's amazing.
I mean, it's like our students are getting. It's not that they're getting jobs; they're getting good jobs.
Okay, and so what does that mean in this industry? What is a
Well,
good job?
for instance, post production. Okay, so I have this student. I mean, that she was able to go to New York City. She graduated 2015. She was able to go to New York City because her grandmother lives in a one-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn.
Okay.
So, well, can I stay with you and try my luck and things like that? So she went there, got an internship with a company that was getting started in post production. They were working on this TV show. If the network picked it up, then they would get the contract that would allow them to turn it into a full-time job. So, well, the network picked it up. I mean, again, it's 2015. It was a series on ABC called Quantico.
Oh my goodness.
Priyanka Chopra
Okay.
was the leading character there.
Hmm.
Okay.
So one of our students
Yeah,
worked on post production
yeah. That was her
for
first
Quantico.
job. Yeah, that was her first job in post production. I mean, so she was an assistant sound editor.
Wow.
But that assistant sound editor, later to editor, and then later to a sound designer and to re-recording mixer. She's worked all 5 seasons of a USA Network very, very popular series called The Sinner. Have you seen it?
The Sinner?
The Sinner.
Nope, I haven't.
First season is with Jessica Biel, and I mean every season they have. I mean the character. The Sinner is actually the cop. So this happens in upstate New York. The cop is Bill Pullman.
Okay.
Okay, and it's available for streaming. I mean, I think it's on Netflix now.
Uh-huh.
But she's been working on a lot of movies and TV shows in New York. We have a number of students doing that. We have a couple of students working at Electric Lady Light. I mean, that is Jimi Hendrix's recording studio in Manhattan. It's one of the few recording studios left in Manhattan.
Wow. We have students working at Electric Lady Light?
Yeah.
That's great.
We have students working as full-time recording engineers at the Hit Factory in Miami. That was Tom Dowd's studio. You know, Tom Dowd is a legendary recording engineer. He's, say, the guy who invented faders.
Okay.
Consoles. Okay. So he recorded people like Ray Charles, Tito Puente. He did Layla, you know, Derek and the Dominos. That's gosh, the guitarist, the Eric Clapton, Leonard Skinner, Allman Brothers, Aretha Franklin,
Okay.
Otis Redding. I mean, this guy recorded pretty much anybody who's.
And he started the Hit Factory in Miami.
It was called Criterion Studios when he
Okay.
owned it. Okay, after he died, it was sold to this other company that already had Hit Factory Studios
Okay.
in other places. So, but the one in Miami, that is his studio.
So you are really proud that students graduating from your program are getting these really great jobs.
Oh yeah. We have some working on TV, like a good number of the sound engineers over at the Golf Channel.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
They are graduates. And we have a number of them working in the local recording industry and the local recording studios in Orlando or all over Florida. The majority of our graduates work in either audiovisuals or live sound. A very large number of the people, the professionals in the sound department at Universal Studios are Valencia graduates. Same at Disney, quite a few of them
Wow.
are graduates from this program.
So if I wanted to go into, like, what do I learn in your program?
Well, that's the thing. You see, that's when it comes to like the recording and the live sound. We also have the technical side. Like we have a graduate right now who's in Denmark.
Okay.
Right now doing a job for Lockheed. She's a senior engineer now at Lockheed. You see, as an engineer, okay, I've been able, I told students, well, listen, I mean, I hate to burst people's bubbles, but there are no jobs in music or music recording. In other words, you want to make a career as a music producer, well, you gotta have a career as a music producer by 20. I mean, in popular music, other than that, I mean, it's going to be really tough. I'm not saying you can't, but nobody's going to hire you to do that. Okay, so you're going to have to break out.
You have to make your own way.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, even recording engineers in recording studios is something that, I mean, we prepare you for it. There are quite a number of recording studios, but take a look at Billie Eilish. I don't think she's ever stepped into a professional recording studio. She does everything home
Right.
with her brother on laptop, so it's everything in the box. I mean, it's not like, unlike Beyonce or Taylor Swift, who really use the recording studio, and they use it actually as an instrument too. But a lot of musicians and a lot of artists rely on MIDI, on sequences, and on everything done in the computer.
I really love that idea, using the recording studio as an instrument itself.
It is. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like the recording studio. Like, for instance, one of a really good friend of the program is another legendary recording engineer, Bruce Hansel. He's he's a member of our advisory committee. Okay. And Bruce was the recording engineer for pretty much everything the Eagles did. Okay. And he was actually their high school buddy.
No way.
Yeah, he started doing, like the PA. I mean, he had a PA system. I mean, like doing
Yeah.
the live gigs before they were known. He was, I don't know if you've ever heard about the Fillmore nightclubs. I mean, Fillmore East and Fillmore West. Well, he ended up being the head engineer at Fillmore West. And then he decided to go in the recording studio, and they took him as an apprentice. Because it's, the world of recording is as different from the world of live sound as a live theater show, I mean, as a live plays from a movie. I mean, it's entirely different worlds. Both of them involve acting and lights and all of that. But the techniques are entirely different.
Oh, yeah. So if I am a student in your program,
Yeah.
will I learn, it sounds like I would learn a little bit about recording music.
Yeah.
I'd learn a little bit about crafting soundscapes and Foley for film.
Yes.
I'd learn a little bit about recording live sound.
Yeah, that depends on your specialization. We have 4 specializations.
Okay.
Okay. One of them doesn't require that you learn anything about sound for film or TV, and that is music production. That is for those students who definitely, absolutely want to work in music and probably already have a background in music when they come to Valencia. And they do have to take their full 4 levels of music theory and
Oh,
singing
wow.
and ear training. I mean, so they're essentially musicians that have the ability to produce and record. Okay.
So for a lot of those folks, it's possible they want to produce and record themselves. Or
Yeah. And but we're gonna say, I mean, that's gotta be about 10% of students, probably 15%, at best 20. I mean, when they have been the most, I mean, when it has been the biggest.
okay.
I'm gonna tell you, about 80% of our students do not know how to play a musical instrument.
That makes sense. Okay.
Okay. So then we have another specialization, which is for those who want to go into business. So it's audio technology and business management
Oh.
at the same time. Okay.
Okay.
It is probably the least popular of the specializations, but it is there. Okay. One of the things is that most people are going to end up being freelancers in this field, and you need to know how to chase the check.
Yes, you do.
Okay, you need to know how to get paid.
Yes.
Okay. Then the third specialization is for those who are really technical and they want to work on the software and on the hardware. So, and this one articulates to Valencia's, I mean, it's audio engineering technology. This one articulates with Valencia's bachelor's degree in electrical and computer engineering technology.
Oh.
That's the one that this student that I told you who's in Denmark took. She's one of the first graduates from our bachelor. I mean, she was in the first promotion of that bachelor. And she got an internship at Lockheed working in the training and simulation division here in Orlando.
Wow.
Eventually, they ended up paying for her master's degree. And I'm not talking that long ago. Okay, so, I mean, how long has that bachelor degree been active? I mean, so 2018 or something. I mean, it was the first promotion.
Yeah.
She's, by the way, one of the 2 students who won that Audio Engineering Society competition in surround sound. Okay. And then we have the last, I mean, is the most popular of the specializations is sound production.
Okay.
Okay. That includes live sound, sound systems design. It includes the recording studio, the mastering room, the mixing room, and sound for film and television.
So in that degree, or in that focus, you get a little bit of everything.
You get a little bit of everything, yes.
Wow.
And but that is probably the most popular of our specializations, and well, they get a lot of jobs. Okay, so yeah, the students are working. I mean, our graduates are working in the most of them, not most of them. I mean that some people decide to go to a bachelor in, I don't know, accounting or this or that. Or one of the things is that this field attracts a lot of people,
Yeah.
or very young people. Okay, and once they get out of here, I mean, they find out they need to make money. Okay, and many of them stay in the field, but some of them, I mean, it's like get us another career. Many go to nursing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that happens. I mean, but I would say everybody who graduates from the program eventually works in the industry, and they do get placed.
That's great.
Yeah, so we're pretty proud what we've been able to accomplish.
Yeah. You built a good program.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been with the program since the creation.
And you started it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's funny because actually I was working with this producer who's a friend of mine here in Orlando, helping him produce the soundtrack of an independent movie, which ended up being a movie by Ralph Clemente, and it was a Valencia College movie.
Oh.
So Ralph was the former director of the film program.
Mm-hmm.
So I was making this movie, and so I met Ralph through that, and then I got a call. Hey, we're starting this degree in sound. I mean, it was called the Music Production Technology degree. Are you interested in this? I don't know. Let's give it a try. And so I got hired with a 10-month contract that first year,
Mm-hmm.
and then eventually turned into a full.
It turned into a full-time position.
Well, it became a tenure
Mm-hmm.
a tenure position, so a tenure track position. So
That's great.
And I was able to get it. I mean, so I've been with the program since it started. As for the longest time, I was the only full-time teacher.
Yeah.
So very long time.
Well, we are almost out of time, and I have a couple questions I like to ask at the end,
Okay.
and just kind of rapid fire, quick answer. So first question, fill in the blank. Creativity is.
Oh, the ability to take knowledge that you already have and turn it into something else.
Ooh.
I mean, it's, recognizing patterns and things like that, and then, I know this from, getting that aha moment. I mean, I know this from here, and I heard this from there, or something like that, and put it together, and you can come with something new. Synthesize, you come up with something new.
I love that
To me, that's
answer.
creativity.
So synthesizing and coming up with something new.
Yeah.
I love that. Question 2, what motivates you the most?
Sound. And dogs. It's really sound. I mean, I live in a world of sound. I mean, it's like I'm paying attention to sound all the time, and musical instruments. I mean, a fanatic of musical instruments. So I play a few of them. I mean, it's like some really unusual, but I like to play them. So just to learn, how to do that. I mean, how to create sound on this type of thing, or how does this make sound? I mean, that's actually a passion for me.
I love that. Question 3, in 1 to 3 sentences, so real short, describe your most favorite creative project.
Of mine,
Of yours.
that's a hard one because my most favorite creative. It's the project I'm working on right now.
Yeah?
It's about the tools of music, the tools for music. I mean, it's like with this concept that, hey, listen, humans have been using anything they can get their hands on to make music with since before they were humans. So I mean, I'm putting a lot of time into that. So I like it. I don't know whether it's going to go anywhere, but I love that project.
It's a great project.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I just hope some other people are actually with the ability to make it happen.
I'm excited to see. I think it'll manifest. Question 4, what is the best or worst advice you have ever received or heard?
Go to graduate school.
For sound engineering?
Yeah, I mean, no, actually, yeah.
The best or worst advice in sound engineering you've ever heard?
Best advice is go to college. I mean, it's really get a college degree. Get a college degree. You always have something to fall on, okay? And life has many turns, okay? So you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. So, but your college degree is always something that you can appeal to. I mean, that see, like when that happened with Valencia, my record and TV show production company was pretty much, I mean, Napster had come around and it was killing us. I mean, I mean, it's like I went from invoicing, not making, but invoicing $300,000-$400,000 a year with my own company, making records for different labels or TV shows. And then Napster came out, I mean, and my income, the company income, went down to $16,000.
Whoa!
So thank goodness I had that degree, and that actually landed me at Valencia. Had I not had that degree, I mean, it would have been tough. Okay,
that would have been a hard pivot.
Yeah. So yes, I mean, get an
education. A degree.
Yeah, get an education. Worst advice is I don't know. I mean, it's like there are a lot of really bad ones, but I don't know. I really don't know what the worst advice is, because I normally don't follow advice.
Okay, so what's a warning sign when you're considering taking on a project? What is one warning sign that lets you know that it's not the project for you?
There's something that rings in the air or something like that. I mean, it's like you get that second feeling. It's like it sounds too good to be true, or it sounds too outlandish.
Okay.
Okay, so I was working with this 70 millimeter company here, and then came this group. I mean, this couple that I mean, they looked like they were actually dressed in tatters. I mean, in rags. But he was like me, you know, from Latin America, and she was an American. Okay, and he advertised himself as a commercial envoy for Panama.
Okay.
So he was hinting at having drug money to invest. And a good way to do that was in movies, right? Mm-hmm. He had already convinced a local jeweler to put a lot of money behind it. And they actually got Martin Caden, the guy who wrote $6 Million Man, and etc. He was from Gainesville. Mm-hmm. And to give them the rights to a movie. An option, right? And so they started a production company and everything. I mean, and it was all the money from this jeweler, okay? And then suddenly they disappeared. The thing is that we didn't get involved in it.
Whew.
And we didn't get involved in it because I met him. And then I immediately went and told my boss, I mean, the owner of the company, I mean, that's a scheme. I mean, these people, I mean, there's no such thing as a commercial envoy. Okay? Look it up. And the second thing is that they're not going to be traveling incognito. You know, if they travel incognito, that means that they're not going to be traveling on the Rolls Royce if it's a diplomat. Incognito just means he's going to be using a different name, but he's not going to be staying at a $6 a night motel.
No. You know? No.
Okay, and that's where they were staying. So that type of thing. I mean, and in the film industry and in the music industry, the audio industry, you see so many of those. The guy pretending to be a super producer.
So that's something to watch out for.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I know a lot of people. I mean, I've met people who print cards. You know, producer, record producer, or something like just to impress people there. And well, people are very gullible.
Yeah.
So best advice then: don't be gullible.
Don't be gullible.
Check it. Check it.
All right. So we are wrapping up. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you'll have to come back. I want to hear more about how the program started, but we are out of time.
Okay.
So next time.
It's been fun, although it's been me talking all the time.
Well, that's the point. I hear me talk all the time.
Okay. Well, as for my students, I don't shut up.
And so what's one more thing? What is one thing you're deeply grateful for right now, Raul?
You know, my life. I mean, I'm grateful for... I mean, I've been married to 43 years. I mean, to the same woman.
Yeah.
Okay. I have 3 wonderful children. I have a lot of students who are doing great. I mean, have great careers. I mean, so I love what I do. I love having this. I mean, this life. So, I mean, I play at least 1 hour of classical guitar every night. Okay, so play bagpipes.
Yes.
So it's I'm okay with my life. I mean, I'm happy with my life. So yeah, I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful that I have the life that I have.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm really grateful that you joined us today.
Thank you.
And join us next week on Embrace the Bold, the School of Arts and Entertainment radio show where you learn all about the amazing humans that make up the School of Arts and Entertainment. We'll see you next week.